Well, hello and welcome people of the internet to another adventure. My name is Ganyonz and today we're trying Stratum Descent. This is a roguelike deck builder, or I guess it's really a card builder. Basically, rather than focusing specifically on building a deck to fit our strategy, we're going to be building specific cards. So before we jump into it, I'm going to bring up this just so that way in the future, you know, if you can either take a screenshot of this or pause it. If you have any info that you're not exactly sure what's going on, this is the screen that you're going to need to take a look at. This basically shows everything that we'll be going over, or everything in the game that'll matter. This is all your effects, triggers, what each card does. For the most part, if you're familiar with deck builders, you'll be familiar with most things, like how much a card costs, power, defense. The different symbols for effects, of course, might be different from other games that you've played, but basically how this game works is there's basic versions of a card which will just have, you know, basic stats like a couple attack points, and maybe it has a few points of bleed, or maybe it has a few points of health regen. And over the course of your run, you're going to be getting access to stones, and these stones can be placed inside of cards to further increase them and make them more powerful. Now, the reason I say all that is because I can't actually show you what you'll start out with. So basically what'll happen is when you go to start a new game, you'll choose what stratum you want to go to. These are basically your worlds. It'll dictate what enemies you're fighting, what events you can counter, all that kind of stuff. It might even change the length of your runs. I'm not sure about that yet. I've actually only done the first run just to test it, just to make sure I know kind of what's going on in the game. So that's the one we're going to do. You can pick relics at the start of your run. These relics you collect over each run. Once you do a run with a relic, it goes away after the run. So, for example, if I want to add this mushroom, which is going to cost me 100 of our currency here, which we have almost 12,000 of, it'll go away. So for the next run, I won't have access to mushrooms. So your relics are constantly going to be changing, which is pretty standard for a roguelike, but just keep that in mind. This will go away. The other thing that will go away, potentially, not 100%, is your cards. So you'll start with, I think it's roughly 20 cards. You'll see cards have a rarity on them. So like this is common. Later you'll see some like uncommon cards here. These are cards from my previous run. So, but these are cards like up here you'll see that you'll start with. So like this card will protect you from 5 damage. This will deal 1 damage and apply 3 expose. Yada, yada, yada. We have that whole screenshot up before that has all these keywords on them. So you can go back and take a look if you want to read all of these. So basically, when you start a run, you're going to build a deck of 10 cards. It's important to kind of take a look at some of these keywords because not only do they have an effect, but they also trigger certain things if an enemy is already afflicted with something. So, for example, if you're building a water build, water basically weakens the defense of enemies. Well, if you also, and if that's like kind of what you're building around, and then you also have these ice cards, you'll see played when trigger, turn water into ice. So if you have water on an enemy and you use this ice card, all of your water stacks are going to go away and turn into ice stacks, which is something you may not want. So there are some really cool synergies here, but it's not like you're going to be just throwing everything in your deck all at once. You kind of want to take a look and see what you want to build around. So for me, and the build that I'm going to be showing off is one that I found in my first run, which is a build around rage. So the way rage works is cards have no defense. So any card that has a defense, like this one right here that has 12, or this one right here that has 12, it's going to get removed, and instead it's going to be turned into attack. So basically, there's going to be a whole defense system, attack and defense system, which I'll talk about, but we're having a build where we are full on aggro, no defense, and it's really fun. So let's get into it. First, I'm just going to put all the cards together. I believe it's just everything that is already upgraded with stones. Almost. Do I need this card? No, this is not a necessary card. I'm just going to swap it out here. We'll be able to buy more cards as we go. So even though these are all upgraded, I will be buying more cards and showing that whole upgrade process so you can see. But this is kind of just to see like how the game runs and how it works, because The potential downside, depending on if you like this or not, when you actually complete a run, if you win, you get to keep all the loot you get. Cool. If you die in a run, not only do you lose all the loot that you gather, you also lose all the cards you go in with. So if you have like a really busted deck with good cards and it just doesn't cut it, unfortunately, you are going to have to start over. So that's something at least to go in knowing. Let me tell you, with this build, we're not going to have problems getting through, I don't think. But this is just kind of this is like, this build was done halfway through the first run. So this isn't like it took a ton of grinding. This is a deck that you can build super early on in the first run. So let's go ahead and jump in. I've been talking well enough. So very typical deck builder or roguelike map, I should say. Let me throw on my headphones here real quick. Basically, you have 3 different icons. Hearts are going to be your cities, right? So this is where you can heal. In will heal you. You can buy things like, so we can buy new cards. So this is what all cards will look like that are basic. All cards have potentially up to 3 upgrade slots. These upgrades here are where you can put your stones. So if we take a look at stones, they're basically their basic stats, right? So we could add like 12 burn, we could add 4 extra damage, and they all have a little cost to them. But it also costs something to actually forge them. So I'm going to go ahead and buy a card here just so we can see kind of what this does. And I think a card that's going to be pretty good for our build specifically, and it'll make more sense, is this card right here I'm going to pick up. Because remember, when we have Rage, all of this, even though it has no attack, all of this defense is going to go into our attack. So it's going to be 5 attack with 12 heal. So we can buy the card. We can then go to the stone shop. And let's say we want to buy some bleed. So bleed is basically just damage over time that deals at the start of the enemy's turn, which is kind of like the flip side of burn. Burn will deal the damage at the end. So we'll go ahead and pick up some bleed. We would go to the forge, find the card we want to upgrade. So this card right here, select it. It has these 2 circles. These are the 2 slots we can fill. And you got to pay a little bit to put those stones in. We'll slide that in, and now all of a sudden our card has not only 12 healing, but also 5 bleed. So that's basically like the overall structure to upgrading your cards. This is like the primary, this is the gameplay loop. This is what you're going to be doing, is upgrading your cards to improve your deck and beat enemies. So let's go into our first fight and figure out what's going on here. So with the UI, we have our total energy. This is how much energy we have to spend per turn. And yes, there is a really unpleasant beeping noise at the start of your turn. I'm not sure why that is, but I mean, this is a demo, so there's going to be stuff like that. But yeah, just take note of that. That beep is not on your end. It is on my end. It is the game. It's not my computer or anything. You can have five cards. Can't have any more. We have your health. Any stats or any statuses that you have will appear in this middle bar. This is what phase we're in. Sorry, brain is fogging up here. Of course, we have our cards down here at the bottom, and then we have our enemies. And this right here in the bottom is the kind of different thing that I've noticed from any other deck builder. So basically, you can see we have 1x, 1.25x, 1.5, 2x. So we can place cards here. And the more cards we place on an enemy, the more their stats are going to be improved. So, for example, let's go ahead and put in this first card because we want to establish Rage, right? Rage is the building block of our deck, and cards are going to be used from left to right. So, we're going to do that. Then if we take, let's take this card here just because it's going to be the cleanest way to see it. You can see that we have 10 damage, 2 blind, which is a 50% chance to miss an attack, and we have 6 regen. So we're going to go ahead and pop this up here, and what we're going to see is all the numbers actually increase. So a lot of this game is figuring out which cards are going to be good as like starting or base cards, and what cards you want closer to the end to stack up. When you're ready to perform an action, you would hit perform action, and you can do this in any order you want. So for example, if I have, well, let me start here. You can draw 2 cards in your turn, or I should say you draw 2 cards at the start of your turn. You can draw 2 more cards, and then if you want to draw more cards after that, it costs 1 energy. So let's say I just want to use these 2 cards, and then I want to pick up 2 more. Well, I can't right now because it still thinks there's 5 cards in my hand. So I can go ahead and hit the perform actions. It's going to do both of those attacks. So now I have 2 rage. I have 8 regen. We've dealt 6 poison. And that comes because we did 2 attacks, and our relic that we chose at the beginning of the run adds 3 poison for every attack. So that's why we have that there. Now, if I wanted to, I could draw 2 cards. So let's pick up 2 more. If I wanted to draw more, I could spend energy, but currently my hand is full. On top of the enemy health bar here shows what they're each going to be doing. So like this chicken is just going to be defending 1 for the next turn's attack. This chicken is going to be attacking us for 5 and hitting us with a blind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this up just so you can see what the defense phase looks like. So instead, let's focus on this chicken over here. And I think what I want to do is let's go ahead and put this one down first. And so this buff right here, there we go, buffed. All attacks deal X more damage. There's also an X% chance to gain 1 rage while attacking. Currently it's 10, which means every future attack is going to deal an extra however many buffs we have to it. Then we're going to go ahead and add this one on. This is going to do 3 damage, but also add 20 burn. Because, see, originally it was 16. We do 1.25, brings up to 20, and burn will deal X amount of damage at the end of their turn. So we can go ahead and perform those actions. Does all that. All the statuses you can see here. We deal damage. Currently, we have nothing else we can do. So we're going to go ahead and end our turn, and then it goes to our opponent's turns. So it shows what they're each going to be doing. This is all their actions. Now, if we wanted to, or if we could, I should say, this is where we could choose to defend. So currently we're being attacked for 5, and they're going to apply 1 blind to us as long as this damage goes through. If we had cards that had any armor on them, which we currently don't because rage is converting all of that armor into attack power. But if we did, we could drag this card up and defend that attack. And that defense is also calculated using this 1x, 1.25x, 1.5x. So cards are really, if you're not going for a rage build, cards are really 2-sided. You have cards that can be very aggressive. You have cards that you might want to save to be defensive. It's really cool. You can kind of build your deck exactly how you want to play. This is how I wanted to play with rage because I basically don't have to worry about this. Defense is for, or what is it? Blockers, math is for blockers or something. Well, I don't have to block. So they do all their things. They deal me 5. I'm now blinded. So there's a 50% chance I'm going to miss my next attack. Not sure yet. We drew our 2 cards. So now we can go ahead and move forward and see what we want to do here. Let's see here. So any attack I do, like I'm going to put this over here. And so this guy's already taking 5 damage at the start of his turn. So he's really at like 17. So if we threw this one right here, we're going to do 5 from the hit. We're also going to add 5 bleed. So it's essentially 10. We're also going to add 3 poison because of our relic. And we're also dealing an additional 10 because we're buffed. So basically this chicken is dead. The next thing we could do, let's see, how are we doing over here? I think we figured out he was dead, right? Because he's at 27. He takes 5 from the poison. He's going to get an additional 3 poison. It's kind of hard to see what's actually going on with the cards. The visualizing here is kind of a little bit rough. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so we're adding 3 poison. So we're going up to 8 poison. Dealing 16, but we're actually dealing 26 because remember we're buffed. So regardless, this chicken is dead. So if I wanted to, you know, min-max, I could draw more cards after this, but they're both going to be dead. So we perform our actions. I totally lied. Okay, we're going to... Wait, why didn't that work? What did I miss? Oh, right, because we were blind. Yep, that happened. because we were blind. But we can draw our cards. And what we can do here... So these actually cost 0. So we can plug these in. And then we can do... one of these over here. And then we can perform those. And that will get us our win. Okay. Cool. So, at the end of every battle, here's what you get. You have cards that you can select to add your deck if you want. You have access to stones that you can add to your inventory. You do have to pay for them to be incorporated in your cards later, but there's a good selection. If you don't want to select anything... Oh, and we also found a lucky coin relic. Relics, however, this is a little bit different than typical roguelikes. The relics you find, I don't believe they get added. They get added to your pool, which you can select for your next run. You can't actually add them to this current run, which is a little odd. It's a little backwards because you're kind of... I mean, like with any roguelike, you're progressing to your next run, but this is like you're really progressing to your next run. If you don't want to select anything, you can just take the fragments. And remember, the fragments can be used to buy cards later. They can be used to add stones to your cards. And at the end of your run, any fragments you have, you'll save into your pool. Which we saw at the beginning was my 12,000, which can be used to either add relics, it can be used to forge cards before you start your run, all that kind of stuff. If you do want to grab a card, it is going to take a certain amount of fragments out. So you're always going to get something unless you're taking literally everything. But yeah, cool little system there. Let's do another fight. Let's see here. What do we want to do? So the first thing I always want to do in this build is to make sure we have rage. Rage is super important in this build. Always want to have it active. Let's then go ahead. The next thing I usually prioritize with this build is getting buffed. Because buffed is going to make it so that all our attacks are doing way more. After that, we still have 2. So then let's go ahead. I'm going to blind this guy. And I think we might throw... Actually, I'm going to call it there. And then I'm going to draw 2 more cards. Let's see. What do I want to do next? I think we're just going to throw another attack over here. Just get some more buff, more rage. It's not going to fall off or anything, but I think that's what I want to do. But that costs 0, so I can actually do one more. Actually, I think... How close are we to just, like, killing this chicken? Potentially very close. I would say very close. He's dying. So this is a deck builder or card builder, or whichever one you want to call it, that can get very silly very fast. I don't know how high numbers actually scale. Because when we were looking at the Stratums earlier, the health pool of like the very last run was what was it? It was close to like 1,000. So I think that's reasonable. It might be higher than that, but either way, let's go ahead and throw some more. Actually, let's do the damage first, more damage, and then I'm gonna throw a big stack of bleed on here. Bleed and poison, I like to get as high as possible, so I'm actually going to flip these two. So let's do this. Let's do this first, then bleed, or then poison, then bleed. And the higher numbers you want higher, because obviously with multiplication, they get bigger numbers, get bigger, faster, bigger. Big, big. We like big. And that was even more than we needed. So let's see. Do we have anything here that I like? I really liked these cards at the beginning because it basically did damage and heals. That was my whole goal with this build, was to get a lot of healing as stones so that even though I'm not blocking anything, I can just heal it all right back. Burn I like less than I started liking because it deals it at the end of turn. That's why I like bleed and poison. I'm just going to try and build up some of my resources here. Yeah, I don't know why that beep is there. I do apologize for that again. Not me, it's the game. Sweet. Okay, so we do have our rage cards. Let's see what we have here. We got a couple chickens that are attacking us. Let's see if we can... We should be able to take... Let's see. Yeah, we should be able to take them out. Let's see. Let's go ahead and deal that. Then we can, I think I'm going to maybe not kill. Oh, but we can just do, yeah, like sometimes, like this might just be overkill. Yeah, see, sometimes like that'll happen and you'll just have these like completely overkill turns. But again, like, remember, this is the very first stage, and like I said, this is a build that you can easily get to halfway through your first run, and this build will probably fall off when you get to later levels, would be my guess. Just because I'm not sure how, if at all, your health pool increases, and if it doesn't, my assumption is that enemies will start dealing more and more damage to you. And if that is the case, let's see, what do we want to do here? I'm just going to throw this over here. And then we're good. If that is the case, you're going to have to defend rather than just like, see, like right here, I can tank all that. And then I have so much regen and I have so much healing in hand that you almost can't get hit. Or you can't get hit, you can't get killed, basically. So all I need to do is one hit over here. So I'm just going to throw one of these free ones and then probably just try and one hit over here. Or I say try to, it's just like very clean. Yeah, it's not even, it's 2 cards over. Let's see. So so like shock is a 25% chance to take X damage when attacking. So basically, like, this is just more damage. But the thing is, with this build, and I have a feeling with a lot of other builds moving forward, is that flat damage is not going to be a really important thing. It's going to be a lot of your triggers over time. And a lot of that is due to because all these damages stack. So let's go big. Yeah, big gains. Actually, no, I want to say, let's do reasonable gains, then really big gains. So we can do 20 buff. Yeah, so all of our attacks are dealing an extra 36 damage. Like, okay. So let's see if we wanted to, like, I think, let's see. So that's 39. Yeah. So like that guy's just dead, and maybe that will kill. Yeah. With the poison, like that kills. Like it's a little funny. Yeah, sure. Defend for 4. Yeah, we'll draw 2 cards. We'll go to max hand size. And then we'll just do, I don't know, we'll just throw things in there. We'll just do the thing, and bye-bye, Mr. Froggo. Yeah, so if we want to collect stuff. So, yeah, like, remember, like I said, this is the very start. We're going to kind of keep going here until we see what the boss does. We always want to start getting our rage up with this build. We don't really need to worry about more. The thing with this, the rage, that's really good. So I threw it on a card that deals 0. We always start with 3 energy. I don't know if there's a way to increase the amount of energy you do. So without cards that cost 0, you can't actually get to 2 times. So with all this, we can go boom, boom, and then kill. And then, so like, yeah, like he's taking 18 damage at the start of the turn, 24 damage at the end of the turn. I think he's dead. I think we killed him. And so like, I'm going to save this just to get basically get a 1 hit on anyone at the end of turn. So there's a lot of different builds that you can do. The first build, so technically, I've done 2 runs before this, but the first run I did was a mess because I did exactly what, I guess, I mean, really, I can just kind of throw stuff in here. Actually, I should throw it over here because this guy's attacking me. But I'm going to be honest, a lot of this doesn't really matter. Like, this first level is actually fairly easy. I say that, but the build that I started with the first time, made it about halfway through a run, did not go as planned. And the reason is I did exactly what I said not to do first time at the beginning of the video, which is I threw just a bunch of stuff together because I didn't understand how all the triggers worked. And to be honest, I still don't know how a lot of the triggers work. So it is going to take a little bit of time. Actually, before I mention that, let's go check out some of these events. So we have the Tranquil Pond. You come across a clearing with a serene pond. You feel as though this area is safe and that you can rest without coming to harm. So let's just drink the water because we're full. I don't need to rest. You feel all the energy come back and can take on the stratum. Health is restored to max. Oh, okay. Well, we restored to max anyway. We're gonna do the next event. You've been invited to play a game of higher or lower. Want to test your luck? Predict if the next number rolled on the dice will be higher or lower. But first, what's your wager? We got a bunch. Let's just go all in. Balls to walls. 600 fragments. So the dice rolled a 5 using a 20. Well, that is important. It's gonna be higher. And it rolled a 6, just barely higher. Cool. So we won 600 fragments. Sure. Let's go again. 600. I have a feeling that it just might be higher. I'm going to wager 600 fragments that it's going to be higher. Nice. Okay, let's take the winnings and leave. We're good. Don't get too greedy. Let's check out the next event here. Along your journey, you find what looks to be an altar on the side of the road. It is engraved with "Leave a monster's treasure and your wish will be granted." Interesting. I'm going to see what we get here. Because I don't think we need this adds 3 poison every attack. Although it is kind of nice. Yeah, we don't need it though. Let's place a relic. Oh, interesting. So it takes relics. See, so like these are the lucky coins that we earned this run. So we can put one of these in. So let's go ahead and throw one of the lucky coins in, see what we get. It seems to accept your offering, and you see something manifest as a reward. Journey luck 22. I honestly have no idea what this is. I think it's just the chance of getting better cards and better loot, I would assume, but I haven't seen a stat anywhere that shows what your luck is even to begin with. So I'm not exactly sure how that works. So let's see here. Let's go ahead. We got to start off with our rage here. Might as well see if we can take out the spider since he is attacking us. But as we've kind of mentioned, getting attacked isn't such a big deal with this build, at least, you know, so far. Let's draw a couple cards here. And do we want to do anything else? Might as well pop one of these. Yeah, and then you're just going to die the poison. Sweet. Okay. Yeah, so if you're thinking of jumping into this game, definitely take some time to read what all the keywords do when you're building your first deck. It can be a little overwhelming, but typically I think if you choose, you know, 2, possibly a 3rd, if you're feeling a little ambitious, is going to be a good place to stick with. I pretty much just threw everything in, and overall, some of them, you can see right here, like regeneration, cleanses, bleed, and sickness of us. So, you know, there's typically, if it's clearing it on your side, probably not so much a big deal. But if you're applying debuffs, and some debuffs will turn things into other. So, for example, again, if you're doing a water build and you also have burn your deck, you can see at the very bottom here, it turns half of water into blind. So you'll end up losing some of your water stacks if you're not careful. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and take care of Mr. Spider. Put him on the back burner. Perform some actions. Take care of those. Dead. Draw our cards. You always want to make sure you draw your cards. I've definitely missed that a couple times. Since you don't automatically draw them, or I should say you draw your 2 cards at the start of your turn, but you can miss your free draws. So I'm going to draw up to max, just see what we can get. Might as well do our free one here. And then we can basically just build up to a big 2x 20 damage attack. Nice. And then let's go ahead and, you know what? I should have been thinking about this. So stones and cards that you pick up are not limited to the run that you are currently on. So again, unless you lose. If you lose, you lose all your stuff, all your cards, all the stuff you picked up. If you quit the run though, I think, so the way it explained it in the tutorial is that if you quit, you can still save all your stuff. You don't get like your final loot, but you keep everything that you've got so far. I don't think that works if you've already entered into a battle. I think at that point that would count as dying. I haven't tested that yet. I don't want to test that, at least on this run, because I kind of like my deck. But anything that you should collect, so like I should probably be collecting these bleeds, because those have been really good in my build. Buff, getting those. Like this card is pretty good that we can, actually it's not great because it only has one upgrade slot. We have plenty of these. But like stones, I should definitely be collecting some, since we'll hold on to them and can upgrade cards in the future. It doesn't necessarily have to be this run. So let's go to another event. You catch a shadow from the corner of your eye, and as you turn to face it, a voice resonates in your head. Hello, adventurer. I'm not a merchant of goods, but of improvements. Is there anything you wish to enhance about yourself? Your luck, +1 luck. Okay, so this is going to cost fragments. Your wealth, your health, +25 max health. Well, that doesn't really... That is cheap. Why is that so cheap compared to these other two? None of them are as important. I would rather keep... Unless that changes it permanently? I can't imagine that's permanently. I'm curious, though. I'm going to increase by 100 and see if when we end, it is permanent. I highly doubt it, though. Just because the other numbers were so small. 1 luck and 0.05 fragments. You decide to purchase one of these improvements, and the moment you hand over the fragments, the shadow vanishes. A voice echoes, until we meet again. All right. Another fight here. Again, let's build up some... Let's see. Let's build up some rage. We're going to first do bleed, then do buff, and then another buff. And then I'm going to save this so that way we can get up to 2x on another attack. Almost dead. Take you out. Draw 2 cards. End turn. Go to our opponent's turn. They're going to attack us for 6, and they're also going to buff themselves. But that's not going to matter so much because you're dead. You big old dead. So is there anything I want to pick up? No, not really. Ideally, so I'm guessing that luck will, because these are all common cards, luck will increase the chance that you get uncommon or rare cards, which is pretty much what we're looking for. We'll just do a couple events here to kind of move it forward to get to that boss. Why do you need strength? To defeat my foes, to help others, to show off, to help myself. Let's be the nice guys. To help others. Oh, we got, so we got some stones here. Oh, so we got multi-strike. We got shield. 25 attack and 7 ice. Nice. Take those stones and leave. I haven't seen that one yet. You meet all sorts of interesting characters in the world, but you never thought you would meet someone who collects stones. Your mind starts to wander as the person in front of you goes on about stones and their histories. Before you completely lose focus, you hear the person ask if you would be willing to help them collect stones that they're missing. Sure. Oh, wonderful, the person exclaims. Then they list out all the stones they need, and that when you see them next, they will gladly take any of them off your hands. Gotcha. Okay, so this is probably something that we would have to like write down, I'm guessing, to remember some of these and kind of pick them up along the way. Oh, we got bars. We got burrs. I really like this art style. It's very simplistic, very minimalistic. I'm a big fan of minimalism. So I just recorded another video, which I'm not sure if it'll come out before or after this one. Likely before, because I'm planning a second episode of it. So you might know what game I'm talking about if you're seeing this already. But oh boy, that has a lot more numbers and text than this one. This one's a walk in the park compared to that. Let's see. So yeah, let's just load these up. Nice. Jar cards. And then can we take you out? This would add what? Just 3 poison. Oh yeah, that'll kill you. Yeah. Don't touch me. Don't push me. Because I'm close to the edge. Yeah, and then we can just go boop. We can go boop. We can go boop and double boop. Nothing good here yet, and nothing too good here yet. All right, we'll leave. We'll take our fragments. So, let's see. Anything good in the card shop? Ooh, okay. So, see, we have some uncommons here that we can take a look at. This one's basically blank. Well, it's blank, but it has 8 shield, which is actually pretty good. I'm going to pick that up. That's pretty open. I can kind of build whatever I want with that one. Let's see. Nothing else with really high shield. We do have a 4 rage here. That's not really necessary. We have 5 blind. That's a really good defensive card. And again, like with this game, it seems like you don't necessarily have to think about this run specifically, although these cards are going into my deck, which I didn't quite think about. But if your run is going, so like for this run, for example, because this run is very straightforward, very easy. If I wanted to pick up a card for a different type of deck, I could totally do that here and hold on to those cards. As far as I understand the game, that's kind of how it progresses. Because I bought cards in the last run, which I upgraded and then are now using in this run. So I think I'm just going to pick up the uncommon cards. And not all the options, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, not all the options are in each city. So for example, you'll see I can't equip stones to any of my cards here because the forge option isn't here. So it's not like every city you go to is going to be guaranteed to give you every option. So there is a little bit of variety there, and you might not get exactly what you need. You come across a field of thick thorns and you don't have time to go around. Thick thorns signify damage, I'm betting. Let's cut our way through anyway. Oh, no. No, wait, am I going to lose this card? If that's the case, I think I'm okay with losing this card. Let's just see if that's how it works. You hack your way through and reach the end of the field unscathed. Lost the card used. I wonder what we would have gotten if we walked around. Okay, that sucks. That's kind of punishing. Let's see what else we got. You come upon what appears to be 2 powerful wizards preparing for a duel. It seems like things could escalate quickly. Stand back and watch. Assist the wizard on the left, assist the wizard on the right, or leave them and continue on. Let's help the right wizard. He's on the right side of history. You assist one of the wizards, and it proves to be a good choice as they emerge victorious. Gratefully for your assistance, they thank you and cast a spell on you. Plus 15 bleed every attack. Okay, so basically we got a new relic here. That's absurd. That's busted. That's yeah, that's a thing. In the forest, a weather-worn shrine whispers forgotten tales. Before it, offerings lie scattered. A glimmer of fragments, wildflowers, and trinkets left by those before you. Let's go ahead and make a nice little offering here. Let's give up some of our money. We get fully healed and plus 3 journey luck. Well, I don't think we'll be using all that, but it's nice to know they're nice and taken care of. So we got our boss fight here. 2 enemies. We got a Mr. Dargan who, yeah, he defends a lot and he's got a lot of health. Oop. I don't know if that happened, but I had there's a little incident there with my buttons and my keyboard. So let's go ahead and take out the spider here. Yeah, so we obviously have our, Let's see. We can go ahead and build up our rage. We can go ahead and build up our buffs. We can go ahead and build up our... Yeah, that card doesn't really do anything now, huh? We can go ahead and build up our regen. And then, no, I guess it does. So even though it doesn't show this currently, once we apply the rage, I think it's still going to do... What would that be? 16, so 16 damage? Well, plus whatever our buffs are. I don't know. Let's see. We'll see it all together. It doesn't. Interesting. Okay, so any buffs that are being applied... So whatever cards go in, the stats are what they are. Any buffs that are applied don't apply to future cards. Interesting. I didn't know that. It's kind of not what I expected to be the case, because it kind of shows the cards being applied one after the other, and my Magic Brain is very procedurally based. So I would assume that once a buff is applied, it would then apply itself and do like static effects and layers and all that. But that seems to not be the case. Okay. Regardless, you have 120 bleed on you, good spider, sir. And you're going to be itsy bitsy dead in a little bit here. So I guess we can go ahead and just attack Mr. Dargan. We're going to apply a bunch of burn. We're going to add a bunch of bleed. And yeah, you're going to die a slow, painful death. Now, why do you have 30 bleed? This applies 15 for every attack. Does burn count as an attack, or does this count as 2 attacks? Huh. Not sure. We're learning new things. Bye, Mr. Spider. You had no chance. Okay, let's see how this works. So this card is free. So my guess is he should be going up to 45. So my guess are the two options would be 45 or 75. Let's see. 60. That is neither of the options I thought was going to happen with this. Okay. Does this bring us up to 90? It does. So is it counting rage as an attack? So possibly attack is kind of a general term that describes anything affecting the enemy. So my guess is that this card is just going to be 15 bleed because the heal and the buff only apply to us. Let's test. 120. That is not what I expected. Huh. I am not exactly sure what's going on with that. Either way, unfortunately, Mr. Dargan, you have yet to attack. You've done a lot of blocking, not a whole lot of attacking. So because of that, we shall punish. And you will take 210 bleeding damage on your turn. Now, please suffer and die. Okay, I don't know exactly how that bleed math worked out. Regardless, yeah, it was pretty busted. So yeah, we cleared the stratum. All fragments and unused stones will be added to your inventory. We gained 1,000 fragments, total fragments gained, and then we have two options. We can either keep all of your cards, or fragmentize all your cards and gain 6,696 fragments. So basically just turns everything into fragments, and then you get more fragments to forge with. I do not want to do that. I want to keep all my cards. I'm not sure why you would want to destroy all your cards. Maybe if you had like a really poor run, I guess, but I don't know. We're going to keep, and then let's keep an eye on our health and see if we stay at 100. I believe we're going to go back down to 75. Let's go ahead and keep, and actually I would assume it'd have to be, because I would have to start another run. But yeah, so that's Stratum Descent. That's the idea. Like I said, it was kind of hard to show a starter run because all the cards that I thought were good that I started with, I lost on my first run, so I couldn't actually show you a starter run. I had to do a run, upgrade a bunch of cards, and then do a run with those cards. So yeah, obviously this was busted, but that is kind of a decent representation of what my first run looked like. It just had more fights in it because I had to gain more resources. This one, every fight was kind of a very simple fight because, again, it was first level and Rage seemed kind of busted. But yeah, very interesting design. This is... So, it's interesting. There's a planned release date for this June. There are certain things that I'm not sure are fully ready for release. So, like, there's certain things that aren't fully described, like that relic at the end with the bleeding. I'm not sure why we were getting essentially 2 stacks of attacks. There are some keywords that aren't like fully described. Some of the things that have triggers, like plaid triggers, some of them aren't explained entirely clearly. And I think a lot of that is they just don't want these text boxes, to be too large. But what that can turn into is, like, if you've seen, so if you're a fan of The Office and you've seen the episode where Kevin thinks that it's going to save him time in the long run to cut words out of his sentences, and he just says sentence with few word because few word is more efficient. That's kind of what it feels like. And so there's some kind of like descriptions that are kind of lost in translation there. There's of course that beeping, which I'm assuming would be a small fix. I have no idea what that is. So I do apologize again for that if it annoyed any of you. I know it annoyed me. I don't know exactly why it's there. There's no way to turn it off. Settings are very minimal in this game. Not that there would be a whole lot, but regardless. Overall design though is really cool. I love how simple it is. But at the same time, it is complex. So this is definitely a game where it's pretty easy to get the hang of. I feel like it's going to be difficult to master. There's a lot of different variations with card bills, stones. And again, I've only seen the first level, so I don't know how much more difficult these runs get. I don't know how more wide and branching the paths get. One thing I noticed is that ultimately there's not a lot of decision making that goes into the actual path. So I'm wondering if the paths branch out a little bit more, because realistically we were always able to pick, what would that be? I mean, at least reasonably pick between, if you had 4 hexes wide, you'd pretty easily be able to pick between 3 on either the right or the left side. So there's not a lot of restriction in choice, it seemed like. So again, if they widened out that path, it would force you more into choosing one path and not kind of having access to everything you need after every location. But yeah, other than that, it's a decent little deck building roguelike. I like it overall. Losing all your cards is kind of a big downside, but for the most part, it's pretty easy to build those decks back up. It doesn't seem like it's super challenging to do so. So it's kind of just a little slap on the wrist for not doing so hot. But guys, what did you think about Stratum Descent? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more gaming content. But at the end of the day, that's going to be it for me. I've been Ganyonz. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.